On brief. News, not opinions. Islamic State terrorist Shafee Elsheikh, the notorious Jihadi Ringo, has triggered outrage by applying to transfer from a US high-security prison to the UK, despite having his British citizenship revoked. The 37-year-old, a member of the infamous Jihadi Beatles execution cell, is serving 8 consecutive life sentences in Colorado after his 2022 conviction for terrorism, hostage-taking, and conspiracy to murder. He was involved in the torture and illing of journalists James Foley and Stephen Sotloff, aid workers David Haynes, Peter Kassig, Alan Henning, and human rights activist Kayla Mueller between 2013 and 2015. Victims described Elsheikh as the group's primary guard, responsible for brutal abuse, including waterboarding and electric shocks. The US government attributes 27 bleedings to the cell. Elsheikh has requested the move to serve his sentence closer to family and friends, a proposal that has been met with fury from victims' relatives. Bethany Haynes, daughter of murdered Scottish aid worker David Haynes, said, "The idea someone this evil could be back in a British prison makes my skin crawl. He left this country to bring terror to the world and inflicted the most appalling treatment on my father." The transfer request follows calls from former US Deputy Assistant Sebastian Gorka for the UK to honour its obligations to IS-affiliated nationals. However, UK Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick firmly rejected the idea. Britain stripped him of his citizenship precisely so he never steps foot on British soil again, Jenrick said. If he wants to go home, he can go to Sudan. Elsheikh and fellow Beatle Alexander Coty were captured by the Syrian Democratic Forces in 2018. The group earned their nickname from hostages due to their British accents. Coty, known as Jihadi George, was sentenced to life in the US in 2022 after pleading guilty to terrorism charges. Another member, Ain Davis, served 7 years in Turkish prison before returning to the UK in 2022 to face additional terrorism proceedings. Born in Sudan but raised in West London, Elsheikh had worked as a mechanic before joining IS. His UK citizenship was revoked in 2018. He has now applied for a transfer under the International Prisoner Transfer Programme, with US authorities notifying victims' families and providing 30 days for objections. The Ministry of Justice in London said it has not yet received a formal application, but retains the right to reject any request. Critics warn that allowing Elsheikh back into the UK, even in custody, would be a grave miscarriage of justice and a profound insult to the victims and their families. Should someone who committed the worst acts of terror ever by a UK national be allowed to return, even in custody? And should this request even come before the UK government?